I will not ask you to look for any silver linings. I will not ask you to feel anything but grief right now. Donald Trump won the election, and the consequences will be real and devastating.
Can you believe the nerve of Elizabeth Warren, standing there proclaiming that President Trump's hard-fought victory in the 2024 election will bring consequences? What exactly does she mean by that? Is she hinting at some kind of veiled threat against the will of the American people who chose Trump to lead us forward? Or is this just the beginning of another chapter in the left's playbook to sow chaos and division, as we've seen time and again? When Warren talks about devastating outcomes, isn't it fair to ask if she's signaling the Democrats' intent to obstruct and undermine President Trump at every turn? Haven't we witnessed this before? Years of relentless attacks, from impeachment hoaxes to media smears, all designed to erode the peace and prosperity Trump worked to deliver? And now, as terror attacks tragically rise across the globe, from Europe to our own backyard, don't you wonder if the left's rhetoric is fanning the flames of unrest rather than uniting us against common threats? Could it be that the Democrats, stung by their electoral defeat, are doubling down on a strategy to disrupt the stability we're fighting to restore? Why else would Warren frame Trump's victory as a harbinger of doom instead of a chance to rebuild America's strength? Isn't it telling that while President Trump pushes for secure borders and a robust defense against terrorism, some on the left seem more focused on resisting his every move than on protecting our communities? And let's not forget the timing. As the world grapples with growing threats, don't you find it suspicious that Warren's words echo the same divisive tactics we've seen from Democrats who've questioned Trump's leadership at every opportunity?
I want to ask you about something that happened in your home state of New York. In the past couple of days, Congressman Jerry Nadler said that DHS agents entered his congressional office on Wednesday without a warrant and handcuffed a member of his staff. This, of course, comes after the Trump Justice Department charged Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica MacIver with obstructing ICE agents after an altercation at a facility in Newark, New Jersey. Now, I know you previously warned that the administration charging members of Congress was a, quote, red line. What are you doing now that the red line you talked about has apparently been crossed?
Well, let me make clear that the House is a separate and co-equal branch of government, the Congress. We don't work for Donald Trump. We don't work for the administration. We don't work for Elon Musk. We work for the American people. And we have a responsibility to serve as a check and balance on an out-of-control executive branch. That's the constitutional blueprint that was given to us by the framers of the United States democracy that we have inherited over the last few centuries. And so we're going to continue to undertake our congressional responsibility, notwithstanding efforts by the Trump administration to try to intimidate Democrats. It's unfortunate that our Republican colleagues continue to be nothing more than rubber stamps for Trump's reckless and extreme agenda. And the American people, I think, will ultimately reject that next year when we will take back control of the House of Representatives. In the meantime, in terms of how we will respond to what Trump and the administration has endeavored to do, we will make that decision in a time, place, and manner of our choosing, but the response will be continuous, and it will meet the moment that is required.
What exactly does that mean? Have you not decided how to respond?
We've publicly responded in a variety of different ways. We haven't let our foot off the gas pedal in terms of additional things that may take place with respect to our congressional oversight authority and capacity. We will respond in a time, place, and manner of our choosing if this continues to happen.
I'm able to confirm there are 6 victims, ages 67 to 88. All of them have been transported to local hospitals. This attack happened at a regularly scheduled weekly peaceful event. Witnesses are reporting that the subject used a makeshift flamethrower and threw an incendiary device into the crowd. The suspect was heard to yell, "Free Palestine," during the attack. The subject has been identified as Mohammed Sabri Solomon, and he's 45 years old. The FBI is processing the crime scene in the subject vehicle and interviewing key witnesses. We're assisting Boulder Police in providing technical, analytic, and additional forensic resources. As a result of these preliminary facts, it is clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
FBI is already calling it a targeted terror attack. Would you also refer to it as a terror attack?
So I've been in contact with our local FBI multiple times. We are in contact with them here. We are not calling it a terror attack at this point. Again, it's way too early to speculate motive. I know there's a lot out there on social media, but I ask people just to give us a little bit of patience while we work through a really complex scene. A lot of witnesses were here. We've taken them to another location to debrief them and interview them. As we do that, I think the picture will become more clear. But it would be irresponsible for me to speculate on motive this early on. We're only a couple hours into this thing.
And Paul, you have talked tonight quite a lot about wanting to know about who this individual is, what about his travel, what about his background. And we can break to our viewers now, per 3 senior DHS and ICE sources to Fox, according to our colleague Bill Malusian doing some great work, that he is an Egyptian national who is in the U.S. illegally because of a visa overstay who came during the Biden administration. Mohammed Sabri Solomon first flew into the U.S., according to these 3 sources of the DHS and ICE, flew into the U.S. on August of 2022 at LAX. He was authorized to stay through 2023, but never left. A little bit of more details coming into this, but you were very interested to learn as much as you can about Solomon's background.
Yeah, and, so obviously one of the talking points is going to be the fact that he would not have been here and should not have been here if we were actually enforcing our immigration laws. I think for the purposes of the investigation now and the prosecution and what charges are brought, et cetera, what they're going to be particularly interested in is any of the contacts that he had back home. He's here now. It's about 3 years. Still, any conversations he had back then may or may not be pertinent. But was he reaching back home? Was he in contact with bad elements overseas? These are the things that those U.S. attorneys that spoke at the press conference and the DA, they're going to be looking at very hard so they can figure which way to go with this investigation. And look, this guy's going to be heavily charged. In a way, it almost doesn't matter. He's going to be heavily charged. He's going to be locked up for life. What we really need to do is to look at why it happened, how it happened. Those are the things that are really more important, and actually some of them are outside the purview of investigators and the police. And the fact that we have the stuff going on these campuses and that the administrations, whether it's Columbia or Harvard or any of them, seem to just shrug. These are the things that I think as a society, more importantly, we have to be looking at.
And officials saying that this cannot happen, will not happen. Again, Paul Morrow, former NYPD inspector and Fox contributor. Paul, thank you for your insights. So helpful tonight.
You believe, as Jerry Nadler said, that the administration is trying to intimidate Democrats?
I think the administration is clearly trying to intimidate Democrats in the same way that they're trying to intimidate the country. This whole shock and awe strategy, this flood the zone with outrageous behavior that they've tried to unleash on the American people during the first few months of the Trump administration is all designed to create the appearance of inevitability. But Donald Trump has learned an important lesson. The American people aren't interested in bending the knee to a wannabe king. It's the reason why Donald Trump actually is the most unpopular president at this point of a presidency in American history. The American people have rejected this approach. And we as congressional Democrats will continue to reject this approach.
Mr. Leader, you brought up polls, so let me tell you about a new one that just came out here at CNN this morning. It shows that only 19% of Americans say that your party can get things done. 36% say the same about Republicans. And just 16% say your party has strong leaders. It's pretty rough, and you are one of those leaders. How do you turn that around?
Yeah, we don't have the presidency right now, so that's always going to be challenging a few months after a presidential election. But we have to continue to make the case, one, that Democrats, of course, are the party that is determined to make life more affordable for everyday Americans, for hardworking American taxpayers, that we believe that we need to lower the high cost of living, which for decades has been going up while the size of the middle class has been going down. So understandably, there's real frustration amongst the American people. They should be frustrated.
But they're
Housing
frustrated
costs are
with
too
you
high.
as well,
Child
with
care
Democrats as well.
Of course, they're frustrated with the system. But what is interesting, Dana, I think you're aware of this, every single public poll that has come out since the Trump presidency has had congressional Democrats winning the generic ballot against congressional Republicans. And in fact, we know this is not simply speculative. In every single high-profile special election, Iowa in January, New York in February, Pennsylvania in March, the Wisconsin State Supreme Court race in April, and most recently in Omaha, the mayor's race in May, Democrats have won. So the American people are actually being very clear and decisive in saying who they trust more to govern.
We're going to have to leave it there. Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the House Democrats, appreciate you being here this morning.
Thank you.
Isn't it just rich to see House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries squirming on CNN, trying to spin a tale that President Trump is the least popular president at this point in his term? Doesn't it make you wonder what fantasy land he's living in when CNN's own Dana Bash shuts him down with the cold, hard truth from CNN/SSRS polling? Can you believe Jeffries actually thought he could peddle that narrative while the polls scream that Democrats are floundering, unable to get anything done, and lacking the strong leadership Americans crave? Could it be that Jeffries is clinging to the same tired, debunked polls that once had Kamala Harris supposedly winning the 2024 election? Isn't it laughable that he's still banking on those rosy predictions when the American people handed Trump a resounding mandate? Why would Jeffries double down on such a shaky foundation? Unless he's desperate to distract from his party's own failures. Haven't we seen this before? Democrats like Jeffries pointing fingers at Trump while their own house is in disarray, with favorability ratings for him and Chuck Schumer sinking lower than ever? And let's talk about that CNN moment. Didn't Bash's reality check leave Jeffries looking like he'd been caught with his hand in the cookie jar? When even a network like CNN, no friend to conservatives, is calling out the Democrats' weak leadership and inability to deliver, doesn't that tell you everything you need to know about the state of their party? Why should we trust Jeffries' rosy spin when the American public, according to that same CNN SSSRS poll, is fed up with politics and doubtful that Democrats can hold Trump in check? Isn't it clear that while Trump is out there fighting for America first, Jeffries and his crew are stuck in denial, recycling old talking points that didn't even work in 2024? What's it going to take for Democrats to admit they've lost the plot? Are they so blinded by their hatred for Trump that they can't see their own party crumbling under the weight of ineffective leaders and broken promises? Or is Jeffries just hoping that if he shouts loud enough, people will forget the truth staring them in the face, that President Trump's leadership is what America chose, and no amount of squabbling on CNN can change that?
But I'm reminding myself and you that on the road ahead, there will still be opportunities to fight back. I can't tell you that we will win all of those fights. I can't tell you that we will win most or even any of them. But when we arrive at each of those moments, we will face a choice to give up or to press forward.
And they're taking away fundamental rights. I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
The far right wants us to feel powerless. Extremists are counting on apathy, cynicism, heartbreak, or all of the above as their rocket fuel.
Salam, everyone. I just gotta ask, who's cosplaying? See, cosplaying is when you dress up as something that you aren't or someone you aren't. I am a Muslim woman. I wear what a Muslim woman wears. I dress like that. So, who's cosplaying here? I think you need to learn the words that you're trying to use because they ain't working for you.
They are counting on us to point fingers at each other and to lose trust in our ability to ever make change.
I know that honestly you probably only got here because of your privilege, whereas I had to work 10 times as hard. What am I scared of when I know how many degrees I have versus how many you could never get?
That part.
So for me, when I
Come on, Sarah!
they can say what they want to, they can call me all kinds of names, but I know that I am a threat. I know that an educated people, especially an educated black woman, is the scariest thing that they could ever come across.
Yes!
I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, let me tell you something. When I walk in, I'm going to walk in with a level of rapport and understanding that maybe some of my other colleagues will not. Charlie offered me my job.
I absolutely refuse to give them that satisfaction. We will continue to fight for each other. Look, 8 years ago, in the dark days when Republicans took full power in Washington, I thought the Affordable Care Act would be gone with the snap of a finger. But the American people rose up. Activists like the late amazing Adi Barkan and countless others put their bodies on the line, quite literally. They made their voices heard. They saved health care for millions of families, and they paved the way for us to expand health care in the past few years. And a grassroots movement against far-right control took back the House in 2018 and the White House in 2020 and the Senate in 2021. Don't let anyone tell you that those victories didn't make a real difference. More people could afford to go to the doctor and fill a prescription. More people could go to work. More parents could afford to put food on the table for their kids and buy new coats for them in the winter. Lives were saved.
Well, yesterday I heard you guys talking when we were talking about all this cold air, and you said, well, if the planet's warming, how come it's so cold? So we thought we would answer that for you. So Arctic air is contained by this polar vortex. It keeps it up there in the Arctic. However, as the planet is warming, climate change has actually caused significant warming up into the Arctic. So as that warm air comes up into the Arctic, that weakens the polar vortex, that boundary, and it allows that cold air to move south. And that is why climate change, global planet warming, actually allows some parts of the country to be colder than usual. For today, that cold air goes all the way down to Texas. We've got snow showers, Great Lakes, some snow in the northern Rockies.
As the far right works to roll back what we've achieved, they'll hope that we don't have the stomach to push back anymore. But we can choose to prove them wrong. We need each other. We take care of each other. And please, take care of yourself. Take the time you need right now to be angry, hurt, confused.
I'm an aesthetics nurse, and one of my best skills is the ability to provide beautiful and natural looking results. I have patients that drive hours to come and see me, and they do so because they look at the work on my Instagram and they can see that I provide gorgeous natural looking results. Natural but noticeable, like you know you've had something done but you don't know you've had something done.
Hold your loved ones close. Find opportunities to be in community with others this week. Take social media breaks. Foster your connections. Make new ones. Reach out to someone that you've lost touch with. Tell them that you're with them no matter what lies ahead. If the work you do makes a difference for just one person, that would be enough.
My food stamps went from $4,400 in food stamps every month to $38. What am I supposed to get with $38 with 6 kids? How the hell am I supposed to support my kids on $38 in food stamps? Not to mention our disability checks on hold. Our Section 8, my rent isn't getting paid tomorrow. So I have to come up with $1,100. Okay? I am allergic to work. I can't work. I refuse to work. The whole reason I had kids was the amount of government benefits that you get for one child. And now, with the dependent age being 7 and younger, none of my kids are dependents now. None of them, because they're all older than 7. So how am I supposed to live? How do I feed my kids on $38? This is not okay. Not okay.
I will wake up every morning and choose to fight for our families, our freedoms, and our kids' futures. I will do everything I can in my position to defend our values and to fight back. To everyone who volunteered, who phone banked, who texted, who knocked doors, who brought cookies to volunteers, who put up a lawn sign, who gave a part of themselves to be a part of something bigger. You are the beating heart of our democracy. It will be an honor to keep fighting by your side. Thank you.
Can you feel the heat rising, patriots? Isn't it just a little too convenient that right as President Trump takes the reins to make America great again, we've got Elizabeth Warren out here ominously vowing consequences for his victory? What's she really saying? Is this a dog whistle to the radical left to stir up trouble, or just another empty threat from a Democrat desperate to stay relevant? And what about Jasmine Crockett, throwing around wild accusations and divisive rhetoric like it's her job to keep America fractured? Don't you wonder if she's just parroting the same tired script to undermine the mandate we gave Trump in 2024? Then there's Hakeem Jeffries, stumbling over his words on CNN, clinging to fake polls that probably had Kamala Harris winning the election too. Isn't it pathetic how he can't face the truth, that Americans rejected the Democrats' weak leadership and chose Trump's strength instead? And let's not forget Chuck Schumer, lurking in the Senate, scheming to block Trump's agenda at every turn. Haven't we seen this movie before, where Schumer and his pals put party over country while claiming they're saving democracy? Doesn't it strike you as suspicious that all this breaking news, from terror threats to economic scares, seems to explode just as Trump prepares to lead us forward? Are these just coincidences, or is the left laying the groundwork to disrupt the peace we're fighting for? Why do their words sound less like opposition and more like veiled calls to chaos? And when you add it all up, Warren's warnings, Crockett's rants, Jeffries' denial, Schumer's obstruction, doesn't it feel like the Democrats are terrified of a strong, united America under Trump's leadership? So, what do you think, America? Are you as fed up as I am with these liberal elites trying to tear down what we're building? Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and let's flood the comments with your thoughts. Call out Warren, Crockett, Jeffries, Schumer, and the whole Democrat machine. Tell us how you see through their games. And if you're ready to join the fight and make your own faceless, AI-powered videos to spread the truth on YouTube, X, or anywhere else, check the link in the description or pinned comment to join our community on School or Patreon. Who's with me to keep pushing back and making our voices heard?